You know, in the last few years, they kept announcing that by 2025 or 2030, we would see driverless cars on the road. We already had driverless cars on multiple state highways in the U.S. when they made those announcements. That's a standard psyop to announce it's coming in the future to acclimate you to accept it. Now in England, Germany, and other major countries, they're announcing that driverless cars will hit the streets in 5 months. Driverless cars heading onto British roads in 2015. Same thing in Germany. And they will also double as private and corporate and governmental surveillance hubs, grabbing your private digital information, decoding it, and selling it to the highest bidder. So it's the rise of the robots, ladies and gentlemen, that are being built in as basic backdoor Trojan horses into every major system that is out there. Again, I'm not trying to be negative here for everybody. I'm just trying to be honest about what's going on so that people understand the decision has been made to basically convert humanity into drones of the system and to have a rise of the robots. But the rise of the robots is bigger than just automation. The plan is to build a system and design an architecture that doesn't need humans and that is anti-human. They're not building an infrastructure to empower humanity and to give us a future. The decision has been made to build an infrastructure to make us completely obsolescent and to basically turn humans ourselves into a form of robot, merging with the machines through Pavlovian conditioning. When an iPhone dings, they've done the studies, you can look them up, people have a Pavlovian response like a dog does to meat. And they all sit back and brag about this and how the tactics work and how they're doing it to you. And these people are traitors against humanity. They keep you in a childlike state where you believe that their rabbit tricks are real. Never knowing that it's a fraud. And for those of you that are awake to this, you're saying, yeah, tell us something we don't know. The general public is in a trance. They believe the frauds. They don't know. They go into a movie and don't look for the propaganda. They sit there and suspend disbelief, absorbing whatever they're told. I want to get your take on the global crises that are accelerating, the wars, the destabilizations, the collapse of economies, the moves for bail-ins to take private bank account money in the U.S. and Europe. All those regulatory announcements are being made. The globalists are moving on every front. What do you think the next big shoe to drop is? 800-259-9231. 800-259-9231. And we'll get you up and on the air today. Going back to Infowars.com, here are some of the headlines. Geraldo Rivera accuses Matt Drudge of fomenting a civil war over border crisis for simply pointing out that no nation's ever opened its borders like this. Accuses Drudge of engaging in racist behavior. Keith Olbermann trash talks Drudge Infowars in bizarre Twitter rant. Why is this all happening now? Because the order is going out, folks. Analyst, bill banning NSA data collection will not stop mass spying. Gaza in perspective. Hamas does the bidding of Israel state. Kurt Nemo has an article there that I agree with from one angle. Israel's on record founding Hamas in 1974, the year I was born. That's mainline Israeli news. As a destabilizer, you don't want mainline Muslims who are like Gandhi not being violent, because then that makes their position stronger. You want them running around dragging people dead behind motorcycles like Road Warrior, like Humongous and Road Warrior, and firing rockets out of the blue. And when Israel says, stop firing rockets, they say, we will never stop. See, it's not Israel good, Israel bad, Hamas good, Hamas bad. It's that the whole thing's rigged, folks. And that's why I won't get into the whole cause celeb deal on the Palestinians, because why won't you get upset about 300,000 Muslims, Arabs, Arab Christians being killed the last 4 years by al-Qaeda forces backed by the globalists? None of the cause celebs out there, none of the people that call me an Israeli agent will talk about Benjamin Netanyahu endorsing ISIS a month ago. Outrageous, and I've criticized that. Because, see, that isn't in the script. That isn't in the PSYOP. You're supposed to be pro-Palestinian or pro-Israel. You're not supposed to pull back and go, oh, I see the manipulation. On record, declassified. You're not supposed to transcend the whole fraud. You're supposed to either hate Palestinians or hate Jews. I'm not going to hate either. They're all just people being played off against each other. And it's bigger than just Israel running Hamas. It's larger than that. It's the globalists running both states. It's the clash of civilizations that the PNAC documents from 2000 stated. The PNAC documents openly say, in Rebuilding America's Defenses, it's declassified, you can go read it. And by declassified, it's a governmental/private think tank with Dick Cheney, the former defense secretary. He wasn't vice president yet when they wrote that, honchoing it. And they said, we will fund the radical Muslims and we will fund the radicalization of the West against them. We'll have a clash of civilizations that basically brings down both systems into our control. The only lie was they said for America. Pax Americana. This is not Americana. The NSA spying on everything we do without warrants. The government coming after our guns. The borders being wide open. Global government. Tens of trillions in banker bailouts. The ultra-rich exempt from taxation. Using class warfare. Brainwashing poor people to go after middle-class people. Their only ladder out of poverty. Shutting down the ladders of success? Is that Pax Americana? No, 1776 worldwide is Pax Americana. And it's an idea of freedom and liberty. Never truly realized in this nation's experience, but just the partial realization was beautiful in the areas that we were able to embrace that. So that's where I stand on this whole front, ladies and gentlemen. And then there's this headline, Insider says intelligence agencies are running the government. That's his quote. William Binney. And the video, the entire interview from yesterday, 45 minutes long, is up on Infowars.com. I'm going to retweet that right now when I go to break at Real Alex Jones. Insider says intelligence agencies are running the government. When he said something lesser than that in the London Guardian, it was one of the biggest stories in the world for a couple days, and we celebrated his honor, his courage here on this show. But then we have this subconscious, myself included, view where if we break something big, it doesn't even make the website, and I have to go and make sure it makes the website. And I'm not complaining or throwing anybody under the bus. I'm bringing this up to point out the fact that we should all think of ourselves in the new media as important. We should all realize we've proven we're trying to tell the truth and that we know what we're talking about and that we've tapped into the zeitgeist. And if you're in the liberty movement, you're part of that. You've proven it. You've taken the ridicule and the attacks and been proven right. And so when we have the number 4 guy at the NSA on our show saying it's a total authoritarian, criminal, martial law takeover, blackmailing the whole government, that's sensational. And we, all of us, and you, the listeners, need to realize you may not get this for long if they stage a weaponized smallpox or weaponized airborne Ebola release that we know the Pentagon's been developing and other states have been developing. There have been articles out there in places like the Baltimore Sun with headlines, breaking down the thousands of gallons of liquid death. And I remember that statement at these hundreds of bioweapons labs that they call BioShield, a decade-long or now 13-year-long program to build bioweapons labs in populated cities all over the United States that get around the weapons treaties by saying they're testing how to treat these weapons, but they're making these weapons. So what's going to happen if this stuff gets out? Will that be the crisis to bring in global governance and martial law? Is that why they're preparing? We should look at the West, who's done all this secret experimentation and weaponizing of viruses and bacteria, on record as prime suspects involved in the worst Ebola outbreak ever, and doctors and scientists and epidemiologists and virologists are saying that it looks like Ebola is getting stronger. It's mutating. And then we've got all these top globalists that go and hang out with Prince Charles, dancing around making statements about soon the airborne Ebola will be out and 90% of you will die. And I'm sad, but it's best for the earth. And it's for the New World Order and for Lucifer. These are quotes, by the way, of major department heads. Scary enough that the FBI went and visited them when I threw a fit. So that says something for the FBI. I guess they love their kids. I guess you better look into biology department heads who talk like that. Because let me tell you something, folks, they're gearing up for the organized collapse of civilization. Will it be World War III? Will it be global financial collapse? Will it be the purposeful shutting off of the power systems worldwide? It's all happening. The globalists are waging war against civilization, except for compartmentalized breakaway civilization grids that they control. That's a military tactic. Shut down your enemy's technology, only you have it. No one will enter the New World Order unless he or she will make a pledge to worship Lucifer. No one will enter the New Age unless he will take a Luciferian initiation. David Spangler, American spiritual philosopher, author, considered one of the founding figures of the modern New Age movement. And he said that in a publication of the Council on Foreign Relations in Congressional Testimony. And by the way, I've been around these people. I'm not even going to tell people something. I'm not going to say it. I mean, it's too much. People can't even handle it. I saw that clip of that Mason one time that a Christian confronted about worshiping Lucifer, and he goes, "Oh, sweet Lucifer. Oh, sweet Lucifer." But I'll tell you, at the top, they're Luciferians, folks. And they're not devil worshipers. There's a big difference. And they think that they want to save the earth by wiping everybody out. And you can look at what humans have become and the things we do, and you could have that argument. But I want to take your phone calls. Let's go to your phone calls right now. Let's talk to Kevin in Mississippi. You're on the air. Welcome.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You want to talk, bro? Hell yeah. You want to talk, brother?
Yeah, I want to talk. How you doing, Alex?
Good. Go ahead.
I was wondering, is the government going to do anything about stopping anybody from coming from Africa over to our country with that Ebola disease? Or they're just going to let everybody jump on planes and come on over here so they can kill us all?
Well, that would be racist if we stopped someone with Ebola from coming over. Well, I mean, the main track to get in illegally, if you can't get a visa, is you go to Mexico, you land, and as long as you don't get off the bus, they don't stop you. And no, it's being predicted by virologists that if this outbreak of Ebola continues, it will come across the border. But again, Geraldo Rivera said that anything south of the border can't be criticized. If you were in Guatemala City and didn't like your beans and rice and fish, that would be racist. You just accept anything that you know, I mean, if an alien spaceship landed in Mexico and flesh-eating goblins came off that were going to eat us, we would have to accept it because it originated in Mexico, sir.
That was something I was wanting to ask you. have y'all heard anything about the Chinese that are supposed to have bought the National DeSoto Forest over here in Mississippi?
I know that, yes, Chinese firms are buying up giant swaths of public and private land all over the United States. They're basically state-run fronts, and then they pay off the locals and don't follow any of the laws and operate as a mafia, and they're arresting and taking the organs of Christians in China. That was in the news yesterday, and blowing up churches and taking down crosses on churches. But any criticism of that is anti-Asian. I thought I was criticizing authoritarianism, but again, if you criticize Hitler, it means you're anti-German. This is the new political correctness, so you just need to accept that, sir.
Well, I don't criticize Hitler because I have a full understanding of why Hitler done what he done way back when. But that was then, and this is now, and what we got now is a real big bad problem with that border down there. And what I want to know is why ain't the Texans, New Mexico's, Arizonians, and Californians going down there to put a stop to all that coming?
Well, you can go do it, sir. Listen, I've read Mein Kampf. Have you read My Struggle?
Sorry?
Have you read My Struggle?
I was introduced to you by my son about 7 months ago.
Well, I'm glad you're tuning in, brother, but let me just explain something. What we've been told about Hitler in most history books is not accurate, but the real Hitler was a complete lunatic as well and was set up by British intelligence. By the way, the specials end in just a couple days. You can get 5.3 months free at prisonplanet.tv. Again, you can always get 2 months free when you sign up for a year off the monthly price. If you go month to month, it's $5.95. The price goes down by an equivalent of 2 months free when you sign up anytime for a year. But when we do the special, we take another 3+ months of the price off. So it comes out to 5+ months free when you sign up for a year. So you pay for a little more than 6 months. You get more than 5 months free. Prisonplanet.tv. See all my films, the nightly news, so much more. Commercial-free video and audio podcasts. Special reports on the road. 18, 19 years of material. Prisonplanet.tv. I want to thank all the members. You help finance so much of what we're doing with the cutting edge of true independent, pro-liberty, pro-human, pro-empowerment media. Truth media. We wear our bias to tell the truth and to stand up for freedom on our sleeve. We tell you openly what we stand for. Prisonplanet.tv through the month of July. One membership, by the way, is 11 memberships. 11 people can use the prisonplanet.tv membership. Infowarsnews.com, same URL. And until tomorrow, we're running a special. Huge discounts on all the Made in America apparel. The Molon Labe belt buckles, the Molon Labe shirts, you name it. The Made in 1776 ball caps and the golf shirts and water bottles that help spread the word and meet like-minded people. The Navy SEAL made bottle breachers, 50 cal, rifle bullet, all of it. InfoWarsLife.com, MadeIn1776.com, InfoWarsStore.com is the master URL. InfoWarsStore.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. But those specials will end on the 1st. So please take advantage of it and support the InfoWar while you are at it. And again, we couldn't have done any of this without you. Let's talk to Jay in Texas. What do you think the next big crisis is going to be? This is the season of manufactured crises. What do you think?
Alex, I got to say, we did have a warning back in 2001 when we had the towers taken down, but of course in an anti-job. But I think that we're heading that way in some way, some sort. The war in the Middle East, and then we have war in Russia and Ukraine. It leaves us out. I mean, the U.S. is never out of a war, regardless, what stand is. So I think we're going to have to blackmail something. Someone's going to get blackmailed. Something's going to happen, and we're going to get involved. And I'm afraid it's going to be a inside job here in our United States, in our country.
Well, I agree with you because you notice that Obama keeps saying, I'm worried about just someone nuking Manhattan. I'm not going to say who, But then you look at the movies and what they're pre-programming, it's patriots linking up with radical Muslims to then blame us for it. Like U.S. Army, who was anti-Obama, detonated the nuke in New York City or in D.C. And really it'll be the globalists to bring in their hard coup. And I'm telling you, all the Homeland Security preparations, folks, are for a takeover. Our ace in the hole is the average Homeland Security person is actually awake.
Everything we said came true. Everything we've done's been right.
My big question is, are the globalists moving on every front just to destabilize the world? Well, yes, obviously, but towards what end? And if you've got them staging Al-Qaeda, ISIS takeovers, destabilizing countries, overthrowing them, destabilizing Africa, the Middle East, Central Asia, Eastern Europe, the Ukraine situation, dollar devaluation, inflation ticking up worldwide, stacked with depression in the real economy. What's the next big shoe to drop? This Ebola thing is very suspicious. We know the U.S. government, other governments have worked on weaponized Ebola. What do you think the next crisis is going to be as all these crises form to make a superstorm to bring in the world government? All the nations need is the right crisis, and they will accept their world government. David Rockefeller. Truth Raider from Oregon, you're on the air.
Hello, my friend. Or should I say, buenos dias, amigo?
I wouldn't mind if in Spanish they said, viva la Second Amendment. But unfortunately, the whole invasion's CIA Ford Foundation run, so we're in deep trouble. Go ahead.
Andale pues. Hey, let me take care of some minutia really quick for the callers. When the callers call in, hey, callers, when Alex picks up the line and you hear a air brake, that means you're on the air. So that clear that for folks that call and say, hello, am I on the air? So when you hear that,
well, also tell them, I say, we're going to your call.
Right. We're going to your
call. But listen,
right
this is
now.
what happened to any show. Most shows, even though they're local, only let like 1 out of 3 callers on. And they make sure you're listening. They make sure you're not, wandering off. They make sure you're on topic. And then they make sure that you're saying what they want to hear. I have made the decision in 19 years on air that I don't want scripted callers. And so we have a free-for-all, and sometimes it's great, sometimes it's bad. It's different. It's what we do. But I do want people to have good phones, and I do want them to speak up when we go to them. But go ahead. What do you think the next crisis is?
Okay. Well, taking my improvisation, I guess you can say that. This is going to be complex, but it's going to be, I think it's going to be a mix, Alex. You're looking at a stage crisis where there'll be an attempted nuclear attack to be blamed on Iran. It could be a medical crisis where they're going to come up with a vaccine because some type of a strain, say, for example, the Ebola virus, is coming up, and they're going to offer the solution through vaccinations. That's a big possibility. Just a grand amount of inflation, perhaps, some type of a shortage going on and occurring. That's a possibility. It's up in the air. Nobody can really pinpoint exactly what's going to happen. But I would say maybe those right there would be in my top 3. That would probably be a false flag event coming up.
But undoubtedly, do you agree with me that clearly this is the season of crises, both real, manufactured, and exacerbated, and that they are trying to destabilize the whole world right now?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's take it out of their Latin terminology. They say ordo ad chaos, order out of chaos. So chaos has to be a perpetuation all the time, and that is their motto. The motto of the Illuminati, what they call them, the Zionists or the Jesuits, whoever is behind it. It's a combination of all these folks. That has always been their objective, is to always have chaos all the time, so that always brings cohesion.
If the corporate interests that are anti-free market monopoly men are manipulating economies to collapse worldwide so they can consolidate them, just like the old banks wanted the farmer to go bankrupt the last year of his payments on the farm so they'd get 20 years of payments and then still get the farm. That's where the globalists get their power, is controlling the boom-bust cycle. And you've got major record Ebola outbreaks in Africa now, with cases in Germany, people being treated there, hospitals being shut down in the Carolinas, wings of hospitals. The border is wide open while all of this is happening. The main Ebola doctor in Sierra Leone that was treating hundreds of people has died. There's another doctor quarantined in Canada right now. So clearly Ebola is making its way out of Africa. That's been confirmed. And it appears to be getting stronger. And there's a long history of Ebola being weaponized and manipulated by different intelligence agencies and different governments. It's on record that the West has developed, Russia has developed as well, the Chinese have developed, South Africa developed, weaponized smallpox, weaponized type Ebola, weaponized anthrax. And, of course, it came out the anthrax attacks of 2001 were directed out of Fort Detrick, Maryland. They tried to frame 3 patsies. That didn't work, so they killed the 4th. We even know the names of the people that were reportedly truly involved in all of that. So it's a very serious situation. An Ebola victim collapsed before he could board an aircraft out of Nigeria and make it back to his wife in Minneapolis, St. Paul. That's in the London Telegraph. And top scientists in England are saying they need to control their border closer to make sure that no Ebola gets into England. That's the London Telegraph. I wonder if Geraldo Rivera will criticize them, calling them racist, as he now has Drudge. And I'm really bummed out by Geraldo Rivera. You know, he's been on the show before. I want to call him and challenge him to be reasonable and to not make this about disliking Hispanics. No one has connected Hispanics to Ebola. We've connected wide open borders to it and to TB and the rest of it. And I'm really worried about my kids getting TB living in Texas. Kids are getting it all over the place. I'm genuinely worried about all sorts of exotic diseases coming in. That's why I'm scared to go to South America. I've been to Central America repeatedly, and it's scary. I haven't gotten my cousin Buckley in here yet, who has dual citizenship with Guatemala. He was born there. He saw cars machine gunned and bombed off the road, people hand grenaded at the market. His brother was kidnapped. I mean, you name it, ladies and gentlemen, in the time he lived in Guatemala. I mean, it's scary. And we don't want to export that here with the crime rates exploding all over the U.S. in the areas of kidnapping and the heads being chopped off and dumped in front of police departments. Sensational stuff's going on. Mass graves being found all over the U.S. with the cartels. And then somebody hooked in with the whole Mexican mafia culture. Robert Rodriguez has the nerve to make movies where Don Johnson in a cowboy hat shoots pregnant Mexican women. It just isn't happening. Are there racists in cowboy hats that hate Mexicans because they hate them? Well, yeah, when they're not marrying them or eating at the Mexican food restaurant, they might go to a Klan rally. But they're a bunch of idiot white trash. And the point is, you can't project that on to people that don't want the border completely imploded and a bunch of welfare queens coming up here and bankrupting the country. That's my issue, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm tired of it. I can't go to Mexico or Guatemala and get married or bring a pregnant wife down there or a girlfriend and have a baby and have it all paid for. They'd laugh at me. They've used American hospitality to guilt us into this, and this country is collapsing. Global authorities on alert over Ebola outbreak. USA Today, they're concerned it may cross borders. Is Geraldo Rivera going to send a tweet out against, and I don't even want to attack Geraldo. I know him personally. Met him at Fox News, been on his show, been on satellite, got arrested protesting him once. Didn't know he'd been arrested protesting himself, and he admired that. So he started having me on a show. I don't think he's a bad guy, but he's playing race baiting, and it's below the belt. It's cheating. It's a fraud. And we all know it. Everybody knows it.
City of Austin tap water versus filtered City of Austin tap water. I can taste dirt in it.
God knows what's in this.
This has an aftertaste.
Tastes like Austin water? Yeah, it does.
These people just sampled City of Austin tap water straight from the faucet. Next, we had them try a sample of tap water filtered through the Pro Pure G2.0 filtration system.
High quality H2O.
That one is better.
Tastes like nothing.
Yep, I know what good water tastes like. It's good water.
Most tap water contains added substances like fluoride, chlorine, Monsanto's deadly pesticide, glyphosate, and many others. Studies prove that these substances are linked to an assortment of major health issues, including tooth decay, lowered IQ, and even cancer.
It tastes like you're drinking out of the lake when you're drinking tap water.
Yeah, it has that processed flavor to it.
The Pro Pure G2.0 filtration system removes these deadly substances and many more, leaving only fresh-tasting, deliciously clean water.
Okay, this is very tasty.
It's good water.
Refreshing.
It's good.
Go to InfoWarsStore.com today. Use promo code WATER and save 10% off your Pro Pure purchase. Again, that's InfoWarsStore.com or call 1-888-253-3139.